environmental party, just Catherine, Mr. Shan, Chairman of the People's Committee, Mr. Tu, Deputy Minister of Industry and Finance, Mr. Chung, Deputy Minister of Transport. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I remember way back in the 1960s when Singapore became independent, we had many consultants who advised us what to do, what sort of industry to develop. So one consultant came, spent 1 week looking around, and recommended a report to say that we should develop a leather tanning industry. The rationale is that we consume a lot of pork, so we could have a leather tanning industry making use of the pork skin. But unfortunately, the consultant didn't realize that we Asians eat the pork skin. So there's no more raw skin to make leather tanning industry. With that in mind, I'm not here to recommend things to you in Vietnam, but more to share the experiences I had in Singapore to make use of the concept and adapt to the local situation. So here, I'm sharing with you is how we develop Singapore as the logistics and maritime center. Now, this is called CQ, the 3 C's. Now, in Singapore, we used to have a joke among the young professionals. We call it the 4 C's. First, you must look for a career. Next, you must have a credit card. Third, you must have a car. And lastly, you must have a condominium. But here, my 3 C's refers to 3 things. Basically, we talk about commitment. We talk about commitment in terms of the policy makers, both in the government and private sectors. We talk about capacity. This is what we call the hardware part, the infrastructure, the facilities. And lastly, the capability, or we call it the software, that's the human and power development. But as I mentioned earlier, now in any policies that we talk about, one of the main players is the government, because government sets the tone and direction of the policy, and just like we clap our hands, we need 2 hands to clap. We need the private sector to go along with the government policies. Now the role of the government, one area is the economic focus. What is the direction of the country? Which are the industries that we want to attract? In a Singapore context, we have gone through various stages of development. In the early years, in the 1960s, when we developed our Jurong Industrial Estate, our main concern was to encourage industry to give employment to people. Now, as time goes by, our cost goes up, so we become not economical. And also, in the process, all the labor-intensive industries will slowly be phased out. Then progress to the next level. And now currently, our main focus is more into the high-tech industries, areas like pharmaceuticals, life sciences, petrochemicals, etc. And of course, the role of the government is to build infrastructures. In a lot of situations, the private sector may not be willing to invest in multi-million-dollar projects without some assurances from the government that you are equally committed to the government. So the government plays a important part in building the basic infrastructures. And in our case, the government came in with various schemes, incentives to attract the companies to develop what we have today. Now here are some examples of the schemes that we have in place where the government will help companies grow their business. We know that as far as business is concerned, their main concern is, what is it for me? I have to answer to my shareholders in terms of the bottom line profit. Now these are some of the schemes which I'll explain a bit more in detail later on. We have the Approved International Shipping Enterprise, AIS for short. We have the Approved Shipping and Logistics, ASL. Now one thing about in Singapore is that we are so used to using 3-letter words. These are all the acronyms that we use to shorten the process. We also have the maritime finance incentive and the maritime fund, shipbroking and port freight agreement trading. Okay, what is this AIS? Now basically, our aim of the AIS scheme is to attract international ship owning and ship operating companies to establish their operations in Singapore. And of course, the benefits that we give to these companies are tax exemption for 10 years on their qualifying shipping income. Incidentally, for shipping lines, shipping incomes are actually at this moment almost tax-free. Eligibility is that as far as you are an international shipping company with established worldwide networks, a strong track record, and your business plan demonstrates that you want to commit your operations to Singapore, you apply for the AIS scheme. Next, we have approach shipping and logistics. Now, this will cater to not the ship owners, but catering to companies that provide freight and logistics services. So these are the freight and logistics services. Same thing, the benefits are concession tax rate, initially for 5 years, and you can renew for another further 5 years, subject to certain terms and conditions. Basically, remember, this is not ship owners, these are applicable to ship managers, ship agencies, that means people who would set up offices in Singapore to manage ships, to be agent for principals, international logistics operators, and freight forwarders. Same condition, you must have a track record of good business plan, commitment to use Singapore as the base for your logistics and freight management activities. Next, we have the maritime finance incentive. This is where we talk about the financing angle. So we want to encourage companies to use Singapore as a capital and funding base to finance their maritime vessels and sea containers. For example, at shipping line, you need to buy ships, you need to buy containers. Now, you need to get finance. So we are trying to attract such companies to locate their operations in Singapore so that they can in turn finance shipping companies in their expansion plans.